Hello guys, this is Dr. Patrick Price here, the Body Detective, and here going live on Facebook again. Hopefully today we'll keep the signal and you guys keep me in focus and hear what I've got to say. Today my title, if you look at it, says autoimmune disease, or is it really a pathogen problem? Okay? So what is autoimmune disease? Well, they got many things listed that could be autoimmune. Could have to do with fatigue, fever, hair loss, rash, pulmonary, kidney inflammation, painful joints, gastrointestinal issues, thyroid, dryness, and many other array of symptoms it could be. But let me tell you this, one thing about autoimmune and really what it is, I'm going to tell you from my perspective and my training, my years of experience, is this is a pathogen problem, guys. Pathogens. So what are pathogens? Yeast, mold, fungus. All right. So when you have a pathogen issue of overgrowth of, say, just yeast, candida, well, this can be a real issue for many of us. This seems to be the theme lately. Well, why is this there? Why are some people getting it more than others? Well, there are some people that they call non-secretors, and there's a test for this. And what that means is they don't always secrete their blood cells and their secretions, which means your eyes, your saliva, your sweat, and these things like this. You don't have your blood cells involved. And so non-secretors are 20% of the population based on genotyping. And when you're a non-secretor, these are the people more prone to having these pathogen issues. They can just eat some birthday cake, have a couple beers on Sunday with the guys, and next thing you know, they've got a huge overgrowth of yeast attacking their body again. Well, one thing that's always involved in these guys, when you look at it, just through their history. Being a good doctor, doctor takes history. These people have always had lots of antibiotic use. I'm not saying antibiotics are bad, guys. There's times when you need like a serious lung infection, surgeries, antibiotics are used quite often. But if you're one of these people who've had chronic illness and infections quite often and use antibiotics for a week, we know now using antibiotics for 1 week can destroy your gut for up to 2 years. That's one, that's two. 2 years destroy your gut. And using the products like Splenda, that's like a time bomb. Any Splenda product, these pre-workout products, that's why the bodybuilders have digestive problems later in yeast overgrowth, is because the Splenda just gets in there and destroys the rest of them. Not to mention the glyphosate and other things you hear about in the weed killers. There's many things, but you have just created, and even steroids, corticosteroids that is, these can help create pathogen issues also. And these can give you these autoimmune type conditions. So I want to mention a couple things. Fatigue. Fatigue is a big one. Now fatigue, it could be your adrenals, yeah, it could be that. But what is it that stops the dopamine from converting to norepinephrine, which is the hormone that you excrete from your adrenal glands? Yeast. Yeast is an endocrine disruptor. It will stop the conversion. So then again, you stay in constant fatigue. And a lot of times we've been treating for years, treating supplements to treat adrenal fatigue, but actually you need to treat the pathogen issue. Then you have unexplained fever. So people have a light fever all the time. Well, you're having a light fever all the time. What is that called? It is called an infection. Got me here, guys? Hey. Oh, so an infection. So an infection, once again, what's your MD going to do? Well, they're going to do what they're trained to do. Here's another antibiotic. Here's some steroids. Here's different types of. Maybe they need to try an antifungal. For those of you guys out there who are MDs or nurse practitioners, maybe you need to use an antifungal instead of an antibiotic to treat the underlying problem. But there are natural ways to treat these infections. What do you got? Oregano. Been around for a long time. I interview people in the Middle East, and what do they use for ages and ages? They use the raw oregano plant. They make like a tea out of it with chamomile. One of the oldest ladies I met was 100 years old, and that was about 3 years ago in the Middle East. She used oregano and chamomile as her antibiotic. That is how she treated infections. So what is a great killer of yeast, fungus? The #1 killer is grapefruit, guys. Studies have shown grapefruit extracts. These are the #1 killers of yeast and fungus. But the trick is when you're taking these products, they got a good another oregano oil here. The thing about these is you have to alternate them, because if you take it all the time, these yeast and these pathogens, they will adapt. They will adapt and create forces to overcome it, just like they would adapt over an antibiotic. So you have hair loss, your skin rash, okay? Non-itching lesions, things like this. Pulmonary issues. Now, those of you who got current lung infections, like my mom, hey, yeah, mom, talking about you again. Current lung infections. A lot of the old people die because they get bronchitis type things that turn into a serious inflammation in their lungs. Well, they die. Pulmonary problems. So what is the underlying cause of that? Well, what gets treated first? Antibiotics, once again, pound the antibiotics, which destroys the gut, kills all the good bacteria, which is your what? Your immune system. So now you have no immune system. You need the probiotics. But if you want to get down to the real issue, guys, you got to get down to the candida, the yeast, the fungus, the mold. Those are the pathogens creating the infection. The bacteria, the viruses are just responding to what's already going underneath all that. Besides pulmonary, what else we have? We have kidney inflammation. Okay? Nephritis, the swelling of the kidneys. Well, the kidneys are doing what? They're trying to balance the fluids in the body. And with the fluid balance being out, that means your minerals are out of balance. Your minerals out of balance, your thyroid's out of balance. So there's a whole system of organs and glands that are trying to stay in balance, but they're responding to these endocrine disruptors in the body. Anybody had painful joints? Yeah, had them for years. Painful joint swelling. What do you have again? Inflammation. What is inflammation? It is an infection. You get that? Infection, guys. Those of you train in martial arts like I do or other active sports in your life, and you've got achy joints all the time. So, well, it's just old age. It's just an old injury. You actually have an infection in your body. You need to treat the infection naturally. The garlic, the oregano, the grapefruit extract I'm talking about, the enzymes. You need to treat the infection to get rid of the joint pain. Gastrointestinal, I could go on and on all day about gastrointestinal, dry mouth, dry eyes. When you eat and your gut swells, when you bloat. Oh, just take antacids. Well, wonderful. Now my bones are going to dissolve and I'll have a bone problem. What I say is treat it with enzymes, digestive formulas. Help your stomach digest. Hydrochloric acid, you need it to break down proteins. If your stomach acids are actually not acidic enough, I tell you, too much acid in the stomach, that is actually false. You need acid to break down proteins. So taking hydrochloric acid pills after a meal helps you break down those proteins. And guys, don't mix the meats and the meats and the starches. Meat and veggies, when you eat this way, is much easier to digest. Baked potato and steak, which is the Texas way, or let's say the South, those don't digest well. Separate them. Help your gut digest. Help it a little better to do the process it needs to you get to the point of elimination. Then, are you constipated? Okay, let's fix that too. Constipation, our good old Oxy Detox. Those of you out there who do not have your bottle of Oxy Detox, I don't know what you're doing. If you're not using Oxy Detox, you're just behind on the game, guys. This is the #1 product in the world to fix digestive issues as far as it comes to your colon. Meaning cleaning out the tubes. If you don't clean these tubes out, forget it. That mucoid layer of mucus is going to grow, and yeast and mold and fungus are going to have a home. It's called a biofilm. Look it up. B-I-O film, F-I-L-M. A biofilm is the home of the bad bugs. So what does the Oxy do? It's going to clean out the mucoid layer because it's very anaerobic. And so you want to create oxygen in the intestines to help destroy its home. So it doesn't have a home base. Basically, you tell them you're evacuated. Guys, I have a lot to talk about, but I want to keep this to this point. Take care of your gut. These symptoms can also be classified as what? Lupus, autoimmune disease. What is it? Remember the words. Don't say autoimmune. Just do this when somebody says that. Say it is a pathogen problem. Pathogens. Okay? I hope you get the message today, guys. This is Dr. Patrick Price, the Body Detective. You take care and have a great weekend.